And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Okay, today we're looking at a game from Japan called Chicago. But that's okay, because we make plenty of games in America about Japan, so why not do the same? This is about the Prohibition era. It's from a company called Show Enterprise, and it's about basically area control and getting lots of money secretly. Let me show you. The board here shows different spots in Chicago, and each of those spots is worth a certain amount of money, 5,000, 5,000, 4,000s, and 3,000s. Players will have a couple gangsters of their color, but there's a pool that will be set to the side. By the way, this box is like a tuck-in box. I don't know if that's good or bad. I do know that there's paper money. Wickedness! Okay, but anyhow, on your turn, if you have any people in prison, which can happen from turn to turn, you can pay 2,000 bucks a pop to get them out. You can then have some action points that you can spend. You can take a guy from reserve and put him in your pile that you can use. That's an action point. You can put a guy on the board. That's an action point. You can move a guy to an adjacent spot. That's an action point. You can move a guy from a spot you own to another spot. That's free. And you can start a war where you're at. Basically, when there's a war, one guy eliminates one guy, and they both kill each other. But if you have 3 on 1, then you will kill the one guy, and none of your guys will survive. So having a majority is a big deal. At the end of your turn, you have a chance to buy either a moonshine factory, which gets placed in front of you and doubles all your money, or you can buy a casino, which will double the money in that area. You can only own one moonshine factory, and there can only be one casino in each area. So if there's a casino here, that's worth 10,000, and if I have a moonshine factory in front of me, that means that if I control the area, it's 20,000. Now, if I control an area completely with no other gangsters in it, I get the full amount. Otherwise, I will get the amount for my gangsters. For example, if I have 3 gangsters here and yellow has 1, I get 3,000, 1 for each. If there was no yellow there, then I get 5,000, actually 10,000, and here I would get 6,000. So you want to make sure that you get the money. You're also allowed to donate 20,000 to charity, and you say, well, why would you do that? Well, folks, here's the reason why. This is a big deal here. On the side of the board here, you keep track of your income, and this income can go very high, up to 400,000. As you collect money, as you get money, your income goes up. Whenever you give to charity, your income goes down. It's very important in this game not to have the highest income. So giving to charity will lower your income. When you buy things, your income does not go down. When you buy a casino or moonshine factory or bail people out of prison, etc., your income does not go down. At the end of each turn, after everybody has gone, the lowest income, he's the snitch, and he'll draw from a bag here a police tile. Now, most of the time, the police tile will say cop. But one of these says the Untouchables. Oh, Mr. Elliot is coming to get us. Now, when a cop comes, and he'll play that cop on any player he wants, that's going to take out one of their areas and send their people to prison, which you can get out. But you can bribe the policeman. You cannot bribe the Untouchables. So if they come after you, they destroy your moonshine factory, your casino, and send your guys to prison. When the Untouchables come out, we reshuffle everything back in the bag, but we take out one cop. And then we do that again and again and again. And eventually, there's only 2 tokens in the bag, and we just keep drawing and drawing. Now, there is a turn marker at the bottom of the table, and we keep going across. And at the end of the last turn, the game is over. Now, the person who has the most money has attracted the attention of the feds. And they are arrested, and they lose half of their money. And then whoever has the most money wins. So you can win if you have the most money, but you have to have double everyone else. That's basically the game. This is a game that has some really interesting concepts. I especially like the fact that you give money to charity just so you don't get caught in taxes. It's a good idea, and the theme is fine, and parts of it work and parts of it don't. It really feels like an underdeveloped game. I think there's some neat concepts to it, but for the most part, pulling the untouchables from that bag is so powerful so that people are constantly trying to position them in the back to do that, and so that they don't try as hard as they could over the course of the game, and that can slog the game up a little bit. I don't mind if the person in last place gets to kind of snitch on other people, but I almost wouldn't mind if you kind of bid for that or something. Also, warfare is really boring. You don't want anyone else in your territory, so as soon as they show up, you kill them. There's not enough actions really to move a lot of people into one territory to take it over. The only way you can do that is if they kind of just sit back and let you in, which they're likely not going to do. The component quality isn't fantastic, and I would suffer that in a much better game, and this is not a much better game. This is a mediocre game at best. It has some neat concepts, and there's back and forth, you know, fighting kind of sort of, mostly sicking the cops on each other, and knowing what to buy and what territories to control and get money. It's interesting, but ultimately, this is kind of a forgettable game. And certainly for many of you, it's going to be a difficult one to find, so why go out of your way to get it other than to say you have a game that no one else owns? Now, maybe the designers will take this concept and run it maybe into a more developed, fuller game in the future, and I think that would not be a bad idea. I love that idea of having your income on the board, but not necessarily how much money you have. I think that's a cool that's a cool concept, and I'd like to see that expanded into something better, maybe with some better area control or such. So, anyhow, that's Chicago. It's not a game that I would say go out and get at all, but if you come across a copy, you might give it a whirl, and we might see some neat. There's not some horrible concepts in here that we'll see in the future.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.
Shut the door!